Initiative indicative.
Those of you playing Star Citizen for the last month have been experiencing a new kind of mission chain for a new kind of global event called the Overdrive Initiative, the 5-part prelude to the return of a newly improved Xenothreat arriving in the upcoming Alpha 323. And so this week, we went to the folks who created it to discover their original intentions, to hear their reactions to how it's been going, and to get a look at what lies ahead for this and additional initiatives leading up to 4.0 and beyond.
Overdrive Initiative, codenamed Hex Penetrator, was an attempt for us to dip our toes into new events and quest chains for players to progress immediately or...
Okay, so to be fair, I like what CIG has done, right? It's a start of a quest chain, a multi-part, quest chain. So I give them kudos for that, number one. And number two, like, this is just the start, right? There's going to be other quest chains. I don't expect for them to get this perfect, especially in an alpha state. And to be clear, like, I'm not looking at it what it is today. I'm looking for what it will be in the future, right? So, yeah, apparently an hour. Okay, cool. So we'll take a look at we'll wait for the next patch. But I do want to, again, give my applause to CIG for giving it a shot. Obviously, not all the story elements in Star Citizen at its current state are there. They're doing the best with what they got without having to go over timelines or whatever. The quest chains obviously aren't perfect, but I'm still glad that they did it because they need to do these things and get better at them, collect data, collect feedback, and then help to set player expectations now and into the future. All right.
Over a set amount of time.
We're a live service. We need to do things that increase engagement and get players playing together. So the Overdrive was our way of experimenting with some stuff that's most common in other MMOs.
Yes, they did that. I would say that. Give us more challenge, please. Please.
And trying to see if it's a good fit for us.
It's a 5-phase mission that prepares the players for the Xenothreat event.
And it's one of the first times that we've actually kind of done a longer storyline across multiple contracts rather than here's just one.
So in this...
One other thing that they should start to think about adding is cinematics. If they can do some character shots or whatever, that would be great.
Case, we try to release the new missions weekly, but depending on feedback and information data, we either shorten it a bit or take a bit longer.
And the idea is that we run it for a phase. It's somewhat grindable content that gets harder with each new one that you do. And it's all towards some sort of greater narrative.
It's more giving the players a deeper understanding of the lore of the game and prepare them in advance to the Xenothreat at the end of a long time mission quest chain.
So let's start with phase one. So phase one was a data heist where the player had to go down and recover some data off of servers.
We gave it a bit of a narrative spin where the CDF has detected a lot of their security bunkers going offline or...
So what they should have done is put this cutscene in the bunker missions, at least in the beginning. They should have put this in there. I know this is, looking back, this is what they should have done. But I think they should add some of these cutscenes to kind of tell the story in a visual storytelling sense.
Being taken over by Xenothreat soldiers, and they're recruiting any willing and able body.
Yeah, that's my favorite ship right there, the Redeemer. Yes!
And you have to go and infiltrate and capture the data to figure out what they're doing.
And keep the server room protected until the hacking is done.
We balance this for all of the AI to be the tough part of it, along with the servers, so the further up through the mission chain you got less time to recover each server and turn the cooling off.
Warning, security breach. Response.
And you had more AI coming to attack you.
One of the main key differences that I had the joy of implementing is we took some of the tech from Squadron over, where it's not just Xenothreat attacking you, but they're also putting a lot of pressure going into the server room. You might spot some of the Xenothreat people actually rushing down into the server room to try and check all the covers to see where you're at.
A lot of good feedback so far.
I think phase 1 went well. We did a lot of work on improving the AI.
Some people getting the intended experience that we have designed, where the AI are reactive, where everything's working perfectly.
Some people have spotted some of the AI rushing into the server room and they were like, I didn't even know that AI can sprint at me. Like, is that new?
And other people who are, reporting the chip didn't insert or the AI aren't as reactive as we'd have liked. These are all things that we take down internally, and we look to improve constantly to better the experience in live.
People seem quite pleased with the new kind of flow of things and the AI being way more accurate and scary. More John Wick, less couch potato.
Depending on the number of players, it gets really tricky because there's a difficulty curve between the first time you try the mission till the last one. The first time is quite easy to get with 2-4 people, but since you get to the end, it gets really hard to achieve it.
I've seen people coming with 20 to 30 people just to raid that one bunker, which is, in my opinion, a bit of overkill, but it's really cool to see.
Okay, so my final feedback for the first phase of Overdrive Initiative. First of all, I did notice the rise in the challenge, which is great. Initially in EPTU, when I first tested this thing, we had 10 to 15 people, and then it dwindled down to about 8 people at max. So I like that the turrets were buffed, number 1, and then number 2, that forced us to use other means, not just to, throw the best ships out there and then just pew the turrets, right? That was a good barrier to entry. I'd like to see more of that. Now, the bunker missions itself, I like that they do increase in difficulty. There were some bugs that we needed to fix, and eventually we got through them in EPTU. And then when this got pushed into live, I felt that the people who were in there testing in the beginning in EPTU were able to transfer that knowledge and then coach everyone to work as a team. That's the number one thing, to work as a team, communicate effectively, use in-game voice over IP or Discord or whatever you guys want to go and use. And that's what brought the experience together, right? And it helped to set a precedent across all the other phases that most of these things should not be soloed, or at least you should be working across other players, other teams if needed. But yes, the first phase, while it wasn't perfect, I had fun. I felt that it was challenging enough for me to go and say, hey, we do need multiple people to do stages 1 through 5. I mean, to do stages or all 5 bunker missions together. Yeah, we need 10 wave missions. That would be awesome. With not just spawn 4 in the elevator, spawn 8, give us more, increase the damage multiplier, do something, make it so damn hard our eyes are bleeding and we're pounding freaking Red Bulls all freaking night. If you can get it to that epic hard to the point where players are complaining it's hard, great. It's up there now. You guys can dial it down. So I think that I would say one caveat to this is the server FPS, because that's the biggest factor on this. When the server FPS is so low, I would say the intent of your challenge, of you guys making it challenging, dwindles. So server performance does calculate into this, and if we just plant people right in front of all the spawning zones, that reduces the challenge. So if the NPCs come out, they spawn, they open the door, and they start shooting grenade launchers at us or throwing grenades, like, I love to see that. I like to see like a barrage of fucking bullets. So yeah, I would say do more challenges just like that. Yeah. Yeah, we could dial it for the hardcore. Anyway.
So phase 2 is then a bounty recovery mission,
where you have to go and find so many Xenothreat people.
The civil force detect that there is a Xenothreat target that has a decryption key that will allow us to discover information about the Xenothreat movement.
But it's encrypted, and the CDF has then located some high-value targets from Xenothreat, which are holding a decryption key. So you have to go out there, take them out, steal their encryption key.
Target destroyed.
And then bring it to one of the drop-off points.
Kill them, steal it, and deliver it. We can get more intel on what Xenothreat's planning next.
Target destroyed.
These missions used to exist way back when in the PU, but they were taken out because they were broken. So we made an effort to fix these up and then reuse them in this phase.
Nice.
My main mission was to grab the bounty mission that we already have there and merge it with the delivery one, be sure like the decryption key was a spawner, and do that merge between both missions into one main mission style.
Try the cargo terminal.
The idea was these scale up and get more difficult as you go. But on release there was a bug which actually made some of them a little bit easier, as I have seen people and also had messages saying stuff like, hey, the Xenothreat Overdrive Initiative Phase 2's ace, and then 30 minutes later might have spoken a little bit prematurely, and then a massive wall about something that might be bugged. So thanks for that, Army Esports guy.
One of the more ridiculous things that I saw on Phase 2 is the hover bikes, people using 3 Dragonflies to take down the Hammerhead, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know what to say to that. Well done. We'll look to make the AI respond to Dragonflies and actually, like, kill you, because there's no way you should be able to kill a Hammerhead in that vehicle.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
I have contradictory feelings because it's like I put so much effort on this mission, and because of balance issue, you see these people taking the mission in a different way. But in the other side, it's fun to see the pro players that we have challenge themselves with our missions.
Phase 3 is Xenothreat being a bit more brazen. They realize that their setup has not been working so well, so they're just doing all-out incursions. They're popping up randomly around Stanton with a massive combat fleet.
The idea in normal MMOs is you turn up, you get entered into some sort of quest, and it's like, this thing's happening, you can engage with it, and if you leave the area, the quest is removed. The incursion is our first step into trying to do that with the current system we have.
It's a challenging thing that you will need to get collaboration between the different players to be able to tackle down those ships.
So the idea is you go to a location and there's lots of ships, and everyone, it's a server-wide event, so even if you've not done Phase 1 or Phase 2 of Overdrive, you can still do Phase 3. It won't skip your progress, you'll still have to complete the previous phases, but the idea of it's kind of this is happening right now in-world for everybody. Everybody needs to get here and help us destroy all of these ships.
What I did like about this event was the use of multi-crewed gunships of any sort where there's at least one turret, and also with combined arms fire, right? Like being able to get other ships of any size class to join in on the fun and help us clean up all the support ships before we went and started killing the Hammerhead. Some other things about having these missions in the asteroid belts or in asteroid fields that just added to the challenge. I love that. I love that we were slamming into asteroids, and some of the more unfortunate things is quantum jumping directly into an asteroid and dying instantly. So that's always been kind of like this meme that if we're having a mission within an asteroid belt or a field, even in basic ERT, HRT, VHRT missions, sometimes that did happen in the past. These days, least likely that's been happening, but in these missions here, there was at least one instance where I was in a team and we quantum jumped right into an asteroid. So unfortunate because we had one person leave the team. So because of that. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I like the setting. I think that some other feedback here is just to, I don't know, maybe increase the amount of ships, especially where you need to take the key card and turn that in. Because I think those were still a bit easy. Maybe more support ships around the hammerheads.
What's interesting to me there is that when we played it, it was quite difficult. We needed to cooperate and stay coordinated to take down like the big amount of ships that needs to be killed.
So, as of recording this hasn't happened. What I expect to happen is that some lovely players will turn up in a bunch of Dragonflies and just make it all look like so. Thanks in advance.
How does this make you feel?
I love Dragonflies, I got one.
All right, so I came across a video that was like that. Oh, look, Dragonfly versus Hammerhead. Who is this done by? Some person named Rockstar and Antonio and oh gosh, who else was in here? Yeah, like there was Rika and there was Rami. We were all in here. Just a little bit of a sneak peek.
Interesting.
They're gonna go and say, "Oh, the Dragonfly's too OP. We have to."
It's running. I don't know what it's doing though. This is just funny.
Shall not escape the wrath of the Dragonfly.
Yeah, the wrath of the Dragonfly.
The bunkers.
I get stuff like just thing where you have no chance to do anything, and this is like a poop on our. We're done for next week. Nothing to do, technically.
I'm spinning out of control. Oh, nice.
What? We destroyed it? Oh shit!
There you go.
Dude, this was too easy. Yeah, too easy. Anyway, enough tooting our own horn. But I would say, hey, like, again, you guys were working with what you got and with whatever constraints. So I would say you guys took the feedback and whatever we were doing with the Dragonflies in stride, and I hope you guys do a lot better. I think you guys will. So again, don't look at this as a negative. Look at it as just saying, hey, like you guys found an additional balance change that you guys needed to do. And by the way, from when we were just wanting to challenge ourselves, we're just like, let's just go and take something that wasn't supposed to work, and we just turned it into something that seemed to us challenging. Come to find out, it wasn't as challenging as we would thought. But yeah. Anyway.
In Phase 4, we kind of split it into two subsections. So Phase 4 will have a section that is a comm array, and then there's like a 4.A, which is Korea.
First phase is 3 comm arrays back to back are being taken down by Xenothreat operatives.
And then you have to go in and stop them. And in the meantime, as you're doing so, be ready to face some ships.
They're guarding it, and you're tasked to reactivate the comm array. When you do, they're throwing everything they got at you. Try to reconnect to the comm array.
Obviously, these are crucial to the functioning of the law and communications around the planet they get taken down from, so you need to repair them. We've added some fun little surprises and changes to them, so it's not just going to be your generic comm array run that people are used to.
And once the comm array is reactivated, the turrets come back online and help you in the fight.
I liked the laser mines. I thought that was a nice touch. initially I was just like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go into the comm array. And at the time when I first did this, I had a laser pistol. I think it was the Arclight laser pistol. And that was just like, you know, the default, you know, what you get when you spawn into the EPTU. So because I had that, I was like, oh shit, how the fuck do I kill these things? And I was just like, oh, maybe I just go and use my laser pistol. And Oztech, who I was playing with at the time, he goes, yeah, make sure you use the laser pistol, because if you touch any of those laser mines, you're going to explode. So I was like, okay, good thing I brought it over. So yeah, that was a great additional challenge. I've seen other players like use their Ares Inferno to destroy the laser turrets. So again, people were getting very creative on how they use their vehicle weapons for something that, you know, a handheld weapon should destroy. So yeah, I like that. That was a nice touch.
Apart from the comm array being guarded, it's also more focusing on the combat. We're throwing a lot of ships on you, as well as the Vanguard ships are hacking into the comm array while you're re-establishing the connection. So you need to focus your fire on those ships before targeting all of the escort ships.
Target destroyed.
So the idea is that some players would be dealing with the outside defenses, and other players would be trying to actually get in there and sort of make sure the comm array is handled. After you've done enough of these, it turns out that it was all a red herring.
And actually, they're doing an all-out assault on Korea to wipe the entire criminal database and sow some chaos so they can plan something more sinister, which you're being tasked to all fly to Korea and take out the incursion of soldiers there. So phase 5 is...
Okay, so about the comm array mission, I think that the Vanguards did a pretty good job. I think out of the 3, the second and third one were more prone to failure. Like in the team that I was with, we probably had to repeat it twice for a team of 3 or 4. We had at least 3 or 4 people that we were with at the time. I think what threw us off initially was, even though the Vanguards were the priority target, we had like other support ships coming in that kept us distracted. I already knew this because of playing EPTU. Despite that, the support ship still threw us off because they came in at the right time, and the Vanguards were far apart from when they started coming in. So it took us time to get to each of the Vanguards, despite the ships that we had. Some of us had F8C, some of us had F7C Mark II, some of us had Redeemers, and so forth. And so even with those very powerful ships and whatever missiles that we had to at least redo it twice. But it worked. It was pretty good challenge.
Our events refractory period just kind of...
Oh, and security post Korea, where they were trying to wipe the criminal database. That was a good one. I came in with the Carrack, and we came in with some other ships, and everybody. We just set our spawn at the Carrack, and then we just went all in. One of our team members, Rika, she went ahead and set up cargo containers so that we had a wealth of supplies for us to get through, like additional armor and consumables and ammo and so forth. So that helped us to get through the mission. And one of our team members, Rami, he was able to get us through and complete the mission. So I like that because we just had like a pile of dead bodies all over the place. But yeah, we got through.
Cool off.
And the reason we do this is actually a sort of tried and true game design thing, where if we keep giving you constant action, your dopamine levels are sky high, and then stuff starts to get really boring. As such, people turning up in Dragonflies to kill a Hammerhead, clearly not enjoying this normal game.
Thanks very much.
So, phase 5 is a delivery mission where you have to go bring supplies to the...
Okay, so this is the only one I did not test in EPTU. So I'm looking forward to doing this with the team that I would usually play with.
Jump point from Pyro to Stanton, because you're aware the Xenothreat's about to raid you, and you want to make sure you're prepared for that big battle.
So what we do is we have little respites where the action peaks down, and then we'll peak it back up. And because Phase 6 is the whole Xenothreat event, which is a huge battle, and it's going to be hopefully very difficult, we have a little bit of a respite. Not too much. When you do Phase 5 and you have to do these sort of delivery missions, there will be AI there to try and stop you. But it won't be as big as a battle as the previous phases that you would have seen.
Here's how you go around shooting people.
The jump point itself isn't a whole lot different from any other station, aside from that it looks way cooler because, you know, we're building up. Welcome to Pyro soon. People will get to Pyro soon.
Landing complete.
But it's also just a very, very, very far way for you to go. Because you're always supplying to Pyro, you don't know where you're picking your supplies from, so it can either be a very quick jump or it can be a very short jump.
And now for Phase 6, Xenothreat, which you've all played, but we've made changes to it. We have updated the size of some of the boxes, so they're a bit more difficult to handle. You have to be more aware. Some of them will require a dedicated tractor beam.
I like this. I like that there are other types of containers that probably would do other things. And notice the UI. It's using the 3.23 UI, the new mobiGlas and the mini map and all the other graphic elements here. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see this on the weekend. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I like that we have other types of containers. Potentially, these can be used in some of the other cargo gameplay in the near future. Who knows?
There's a new commodity that will help you out inside Phase 2 of Xenothreat, which is the protect and resupply of the Javelin. And then the Showdown has had a whole rework based on some feedback and some cool thoughts we had from the Capture the Idris event that we did. I'm not going to spoil any more of that, but stay tuned.
Nice.
So the Overdrive is our first sort of foray into quest missions in an MMO. Things that are meant to be repeatable, grindable, meant to encourage the community spirit and people to play together. This is the kind of direction we were starting to head in when it comes to these quest chain missions. This won't be the last one you see.
So what we're hoping to achieve with Overdrive Initiative is more quest change and mission linking, more in line with other MMOs that are on the market, which for a more enjoyable play experience instead of more disconnected modules, and give a bit of a narrative flow to it as well, to become more a game.
One thing I'd like people to appreciate is that when Chris himself and Rich asked us during some of the reviews as we were making the missions, they asked how the balancing went and if it was difficult. And both Elliot and I's response were, well, for us it's really, really difficult, but we are kind of terrible pilots anyway.
I saw players in the forums saying that they have now motivation to every Friday go back to the game and tackle the new mission.
For the development side, what we're trying to achieve with this is just new ways of making missions, make gameplay for players more fun.
We're constantly evolving and making the game better. Seeing feedback, we have our own internal thoughts of how we think it well. We've done our post-mortems, and we know how we're going to improve it for the next one. So from here on out, it's only going to get better and better, and we're going to see more and more quest chains come in.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the Overdrive Initiative has been a fun new addition to the persistent universe that touches an entire host of gameplay features for Star Citizen. That if there's one thing you can always count on, it's that the Star Citizens themselves are going to find emergent solutions to the challenges at hand. And that while this may be just the first gated mission chain for the persistent universe, it definitely won't be the last, as it sets the stage for a proper welcome to Pyro during our journey to 4.0 this summer. And if you haven't played the Overdrive Initiative yet, there's still time to play all 5 phases starting tomorrow and running until the release of Alpha 3.23. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
All right, what's the ending clip?
You have to explain hex penetrator.
So hex penetrator is an anagram for pre-Xenothreat, but we know that people data mine our source code, so I just came up with a random anagram that was very inappropriate.
Nice.
I didn't think it was gonna last, and then unfortunately, once it was there, people all started referring in documentations like, oh, so the hex penetrator mission's this and this and that, and I was like, well, I can't change it now. It's going to confuse everybody. So my lasting legacy in this company is a mission called Hex Penetrator.
How does Chris Roberts feel about this?
He laughed, then told us to change it, and we forgot. Sorry, Chris.
Whoops.
Yeah.
All right, so just some parting thoughts on this. Overall, nice job, CIG team. For a multi-part quest chain, multi-phase with surprises coming towards the end as we approach the last of the missions. I think you guys did a really good job, well thought out, working with what you guys got. It wasn't obviously 100% perfect, but I think for the state of what you guys had to work with, on a score of 1 to 10, and I'm a self-professed MMO player. I've played a lot of games. You could probably figure them all out. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. And even though we haven't finished all phases 5 and whatever else you guys got coming up, I feel that's the score that I can give you genuinely. Yeah, thanks for saying about the Dragonfly thing. I maybe we're not the only ones who did the Dragonfly versus the Hammerhead, but I would say that at least we published the video just shortly after that mission was released. So yeah, keep doing a good job. Keep keeping us challenged. What I want to feel as a player is I got to use all the tools, the knowledge, and work together as a team to solve these challenges. Because again, this is a game like no other. You guys are trying to achieve the impossible, and with that comes the big responsibility of testing solutions, innovating on what you guys got, and being able to push that out there despite it being buggy or barely working or coming up with workarounds. So yeah, that's my feedback, and hope to see other challenges come in the near future.